Hello?
Hey there, bud. How you doing?
Hey, what's up, dude?
Not much, man. Just Austin and I here on the air, so we were just in there chatting for a little bit and figured we'd give you a call. You're not driving right now, are you?
No, I'm in my car, though.
Oh, sound like you're driving.
I'm waiting. No, well, I'm waiting on my wife to get off work.
Oh, okay. So what's been going on, man? How's everything going? We talked to you last June. Since then, any changes? I mean, are you whereabouts? Are you still doing the independence up there in Florida? I mean, have you traveled any further out?
Yeah, everything's kind of went down a little bit. All the memorial shows and everything like that. It's all settled down for a little bit, and I'm kind of glad of that. But yeah, I'm just doing independent stuff around here. I'm actually gonna be taking a little break for a little bit, try to get my mind right, get family right, and everything like that. Just for just 1 or 2 months, get back in the gym and get looking the way I want to look. And but yeah, I'm doing a weekly show up in Slocum, Alabama, and that's really about the only thing. That's really about the only thing that I'm doing right now. Just doing that every week.
Nice. That's actually pretty doggone cool. At least you're staying busy, right?
Yeah.
So Austin, what do you got? Any questions for DJ Pringle?
I was asking,
Pringle
what show
Dynasty
is
representing
that
tonight.
you're going to each week? What show is that called?
It is called the Wrestling Experience. It's out of it's out of Slocum, Alabama. They run TV tapings every Saturday night at bell time 7:00. It's right there off of Highway 52 in Slocum, right down the road from the city hall. It's a nice little building, nice little setup, and a bunch of good guys there that got a lot of potential.
So do they have like a show that they put on YouTube every week, or are they just showing it locally?
Oh, they just do it locally. And
okay.
That's another thing that we've been talking about. I'm trying to get them to put a YouTube show together, because they've already got local TV on the local stations around there. But trying to get it out a little bit more.
So I know with Booker's school that he's doing, he obviously does his training out of Houston, but they've also went ahead and created his own little company his own little promotion that he's got there that he does shows on YouTube for and locally there for people to come and watch. But yeah, it's something to think about.
It's a nice little idea.
But as far as your wrestling career started, I mean, we touched on it a little bit. I don't know if we mentioned this or not, but I'm curious. When you're actually wrestling against your opponents, and I don't know if Austin asked you or if I asked you, or I probably forgot. What is your finisher?
I do something like a reverse TKO. I call it better than you, and it's just basically it's a reverse TKO into a neck breaker, basically.
Nice. And getting the chance to work the independents gets you the chance to meet up with some of the guys that you've gotten the chance to see off and on periodically throughout your life. And I know that when, for instance, like Dustin, Gold Dust, I'm sure because we touched on a little thing he did, like you were mentioning a picture that he had I think you posted of him that he had tied you up or something like that, like a little rib that he put on you.
Oh God. Yeah, I'm trying to remember about how old I was. I think I was maybe 10, maybe 11, and as everybody that's listening that don't know, my dad used to take me on trips. He would bring an itinerary home, saying, "Hey, close your eyes and you pick where you want to go this summer." And he'd take me on a 3 to 7 day tour, and just go place to place. Anyway, make a long story short, my dad was I think he was in the locker room going ahead and starting his makeup and everything like that, and I'm in there watching him. And a few seconds later, I feel a big old guy just grab me and just sling me out of my dad's dressing room. They blindfolded me. They blindfolded me, and brought me into a room. And then when they took the blindfold off, they take me to a chair, took all my clothes off, left me in my boxers, tied me up, and was pouring water all over me. Steve Austin was in there. Mosh and Thrasher was in there from the Headbangers. Goldust was the main. Yeah, Goldust was the main one. Dustin was the main one that did it. Who else was in there? Ahmed Johnson was in there. There was a bunch of other guys that I can't remember that had part in it. Road Dogg was in there. Yeah, I remember that. He was in there. There was a bunch of guys that was in there that I really don't remember because it's been so long ago. But yeah, that was kind of funny towards them, but not funny on my part.
So how old were you?
Do what now?
How old were you when that
How old
happened?
were you?
Probably if I remember right, 10 or 11 at least.
I can't imagine how you felt when you were when that was happening. I mean, if they took off all and left in your boxers, I would have freaked out.
Oh, I did. Believe me.
I would freak out still, even if I was. I mean, at my age, I would freak out.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's okay. I got this past probably about 3 weeks ago. Dustin came up and actually worked for TWE up in Slocum, and I haven't seen him since. And I got him back. I finally got him back. So everything it kind of worked out itself, and everything worked out itself.
Nice.
I can't say on air what I did, but just know that it was really good.
Might be bad.
Just say it was really good.
Nice. That's awesome. I mean, you know, being on the road as much as they were back then, that was definitely some of the best ways to pass the time and to be able to take part in that atmosphere that many of our former guests have mentioned. It was such a family atmosphere where people would be watching some of the guys would bring their kids and sometimes the wives, and while they're out there wrestling, the wives would be back talking with the wrestlers or the agents or whatever. But ultimately, how long would you say you've been wrestling roughly?
I started in November of 2005. Yeah, November 2005. So how many? I went to school in Alabama, so I don't know how to count. What is that? 7 years, 7, 8 years, 9 years? Something like that. Yeah, and I was just a senior in high school when I started too.
Now, was that all you wanted to be in your life? Because I know your dad, surrounded by your dad and people that he worked with, and you watched the guys on TV.
Yeah. Well, I didn't really want to be a wrestler starting out. I don't know why. I don't know why, but I ended up. My dad started running a promotion down in Mobile, and I guess I would help put up the ring, go down there and watch the guys work out and everything like that, and it hit me just like that. And I walked in, didn't say nothing to nobody, didn't ask nobody, can I come work out? Went and stepped in the ring, and then the rest was history. I didn't even say, "Hey, Dad, I'm coming down to get in the ring and work out." I showed up, paid my dues like everybody else did. I paid for training. I didn't get served a silver spoon. I got the same as everybody else that went there. I paid all my dues, putting up rings, swinging rings, help set up chairs, help sell stuff.
That's good, because they assume that with the children that grew up in the business, seeing with their relatives or fathers, mothers, and so forth, that were part of the company or part of the business, the kids grow up and see it, and when they actually get into the business, a lot of people would assume that things get handed to you. Like I'll give you an example. You're one of them, but look at guys like The Rock. Look at guys like Randy Orton. Look at guys, who actually, their parents were famous in the business years ago. and they actually literally had to come up and pay their own dues the same way.
Yeah.
So,
but a lot of other guys, they got served a silver spoon and said, hey, you're going to work for Vince now. You're not going to go to the Indies.
Yeah. That is the one thing that when you get into the WWE, it can be a good thing. It can be a very good thing because, to get there is like the place to be because you hear about it, you grow up watching it. However, it's like I told Austin, and he knows it just as well as I do. When you're there, you're limited to doing what going anywhere else really as far as projects. They have to be under WWE's approval. And that, like I said, can be a good thing and a bad thing. And this is not bashing anybody. This is the way it is.
I know, but if you're going to WWE, I think you should expect for them to have those rules against you. Because, that's their dream. I think you should put up with anything to actually make that happen.
And there's some truth to that, too. What do you think about that? Do you agree with that?
I can't hear a word on Austin saying. All I can hear is shoot.
Oh, wow. Speak up, Austin.
Yeah.
I was saying that I think if you would actually be going to WWE, it would make sense for you to do what they tell you to do, and not wanting about it, because that's the place to be. So what's the point of wanting?
And they're going to tell you what to do no matter what, or they're going to send you home. Ask Chris Hero.
Exactly. That's a prime example I'm talking about.
Because, how hard is it to go get in the gym?
Not very hard.
Chris Hero. I'm not bashing him at all because I'm the biggest mark of Chris Hero that you can ever imagine. But how hard is it for someone like Triple H to tell you to go work out and come back and look the part, and instead of just going home, sitting on the couch and getting your paycheck? How hard is it not to go to the gym?
Exactly. And if he wanted it that bad, he would have done it.
And Austin is just as much a mark for Chris Hero as you are too, man.
I don't really, truly, to myself and a lot of the my other guys that ride with me to shows and stuff like that. We were talking about Chris Hero. I don't think he wanted it. I don't think he's a WWE guy. I think he wanted to go back to the Indies. I thought he was probably having a lot more fun going to Pro Wrestling Guerrilla and going to ROH and all these different places and be able to do what you want to do instead of being told of what, hey, you're working this guy tonight, or you're doing this tonight, or you're wearing a diaper tonight, or whatever.
But no, you're right. I mean, at this point, I think ultimately what it came down to for Chris, and I think he even mentioned it, is that when he's seen his guys like Punk and Daniel, Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryan, make it, and he was a part of that crew, maybe he felt like he was going to automatically be brought up to be working with them. It don't work that way.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, I mean, we definitely wish him the best, and I don't think we've seen the last of him. I really think if he wants it bad enough, I think he will come back.
Exactly.
Yeah. I believe he just wants to go back out and get in the Indies for a little bit, and kind of get the ring rust off and try to get the way he wants to look. And
exactly.
He'll be back.
Now, in your case, what would you think at this point about, let's say, because I think we touched on it a little bit before, in the next, say, 5 to 7 years, we'll say, would you say that if an opportunity presented itself and, let's just say, you got a call from WWE about coming down to the Performance Center and seeing about what can be done to maybe set something up with you for the future to come down and be part of the company at one point or another? I mean, is that something that you would consider doing at one point in your life? I mean, you're still a young man. You still have plenty of time, so.
Man, that's a hard thing to say.
I understand. I do. I mean, sometimes the people, and it's just like I told Austin, too, before, when we've had guys on here from the Indies and guys who've actually worked in front of thousands and hundreds of thousands of people, there's good and bad with both. Some people prefer to stay on the indies, and they're perfectly fine with making a living off of that. Whereas others like the thrill of the 80,000 people arenas and
right.
traveling the world and so forth. Ultimately people want to do that because to say that you got to main event WrestleMania is like the be all end all kind of thing. People dream about doing stuff like that. However,
right.
the Freedom Indies is what is alluring to people too.
Yeah, it's more laid back. You can go in and book your own stuff. You go in and say, hey, I want to work this guy and blow the house up and work for Vince somewhere and, work TV or NXT and say, hey, you're working this guy and you don't know jack, you don't know nothing about him and go in there and have a crap match. But back to your question, if it came about, yes, I would do it. If you ask any wrestler, probably 85% of the guys would say yes, and the guys that would say no, they're absolutely stupid. Because what dream do you have in professional wrestling to not work for a top company and be on top?
Yeah.
It's so the ladder goes so far in independent wrestling. You can only go so far before you're on top. Before you're on top of the independent scene.
Now, out of curiosity, throughout your life, and obviously getting the opportunities to travel as you have with your dad from time to time, have you ever had the experience to be a part of WrestleMania? Not necessarily the show, but actually be out there in the crowd and watching with the fans and seeing the performances of one of the WrestleManias. Have you actually got to attend one?
Oh yeah, shoot. I'm trying to remember how many I've been to. I was at the WrestleMania 2000 Anaheim. Was that in Anaheim?
That was in Anaheim, yes. WrestleMania 16.
Yep, I was there. I was in Houston. Taker and Triple H, was it? I think.
First one.
Yeah, in Houston. Yeah, I bet I can't remember, but I'm thinking I've been to six or seven.
Nice. Now, have you actually got the chance to travel to the TNA shows?
Have I?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been backstage a few times. I actually got to work a dart match when I first started with TNA.
Very cool.
And so I've got a lot of friends that they go and they'll work for them and everything like that. So I keep base and keep touch and everything with guys that work for them.
I know Jeff Jarrett was very close to your pops too. He was very those two chatted like crazy on Twitter.
Yep.
But that's cool, man, that you get to experience. I mean, getting to do a dart match in front of the crowd there. I mean, what do you get, like the nerves building up before you walk out? I mean, are you pretty calm when you walk out? I mean, a lot of times they'll say that you got the butterflies and then they're fine.
I still do. I still get butterflies. But back to my dad passing away. It's for the past since he died in March. Every time I walk through the curtain, that's the first thing that I think about. I don't even think about my match. It's just so rough growing up in the business and having a father that in the business like my dad. And him being there and managing me all the time and being able to talk for me. I love talking on the microphone. I can get over on the microphone, but it was so much better when my dad had the microphone. It's so much easier for me. and now I'm having to talk for myself. So it's kind of like what am I going to say now? But
it's good to study some of his old tapes and learn from the
definitely.
psychology that he knew and that he shared. There's a lot of the managers are such a dying breed right now. You think of guys like we'll just say like Percival Pringle III, like Gary Hart, like Bobby Heenan. These guys.
Amen.
They knew their place.
I've got a question for y'all. This is the talk of the locker room that last weekend we were all talking about top managers and everything. Name your top five managers.
Austin, I'm gonna let you go first, buddy.
Gosh, you
see
number
one,
5. Yeah, it's gonna be really hard. Obviously, number 5, Paul Heyman. Number 4, I couldn't tell you. I'm sorry. I don't know.
You want me to come back to you? I'm gonna try mine first, and then you go.
Yeah, you go first.
You know what? I'll do it. I'll kick it off then, and I'll go off with number 5, Jim Cornette. I would say 4 would be Sensational Sherry. And she's probably the only valet that I will ever consider in the same league with these gentlemen that I'm naming here, because she was just that damn good.
Believe me, if you think about her, she's been on top with a lot of the guys. Shawn Michaels, exactly. All the guys that are on top. Randy Savage, Harlem Heat. Anybody, top guys.
I would say if I chose, it would go Cornette, Sherry. I can go J.J. Dillon, maybe Gary Hart, and I'm going to always say number 1 will have to be Bobby with me. If I included him in there with your pops in there, him and your pops would probably go neck and neck. And that's not saying it, and not just because he worked with The Undertaker, but those two were just that good. And hell, if I could put Gary Hart as a tie at number 3, at the number 1 spot with Bobby and your pops. Gary Hart was one of my favorite managers.
Yep.
But it's a tough choice, man. That's a tough one to just narrow it down to 5.
Yeah. Mine was 5 was Cornette, 4 was Gary Hart, 3 was Bobby Heenan, 2 was Jimmy Hart, and 1 of course was my dad.
And no doubt. I mean, he was definitely, he learned by watching some of the best. He definitely, when I was reading up on his website, he always said starting out he modeled his managing career in the early years a lot like Bobby.
Yep.
And that's why I was like, that's just a great respect to somebody who definitely deserves it. And I know Bobby shared that same equal respect for him as well. But narrowing it. Wow. Yeah.
Their gimmicks were really, really similar. The mama's boy gimmick. It was really, really similar.
Yes, sir. That's something that Jimmy Cornette definitely worked pretty well too.
Yeah, that's another. Yep.
But
Austin, it's your turn.
Oh yes, we forgot Austin, buddy. Go ahead.
Number 1 would have to be, and it will always be this, Bobby Heenan, definitely. Number 2, Paul Bearer. Number 3, Jim Cornette. Number 4, Paul Heyman. And number 5, oh God, who number 5? I can't choose number 5. I don't know. I think that's all I got for you. Top 4.
Well, I mean, if you go back to like guys like even Skulland was a manager briefly. He was a wrestler, but he was also a manager. J.J. Dillon.
Yeah.
Even if you go back even further with the valets, you have Moolah, who was a valet for a little bit. You even have Gorgeous George with his wife, who was a valet. But we're not going to go that far back.
No. I know Gorgeous George actually. His wife created all of his robes.
Yeah.
I was talking to Austin and Austin. I was talking to Mr. Pringle here about the page, the historical group that we do.
Love
and just about an amazement of history right there. I mean, hundreds of years of history just in that little group right there. And telling him that he needs to check it out because topics come up just out of the blue, and managers get discussed, announcers get discussed, wrestlers get discussed. And believe it or not, at one point or another, and I thought I saw it, I think at one point, I had seen something about your dad mentioned too.
Yeah.
It wasn't a bad thing. It was definitely a show of respect because the man earned it. So.
No. And anything that I see on the internet, even if it's on message boards or dirt sheets or anything like that, there's nothing bad said about my dad. ever. Nowhere. No one ever. No, never. That was one thing about my dad. He had a personality that everybody loved.
Inside and outside the ring, it's like I was telling you earlier, man, when I was listening to his interviews that he did with the Honky Tonk Man, and Inside the Ropes when they did their show. I think he was on that show. Maybe it wasn't that show. Maybe he'd been with Wade Keller. Excuse me. But he kept it straight business when it's time for business, and personal when it's time for personal, and he wasn't afraid to tell you how it was on Twitter. Let me tell you.
No.
His Twitter, and his comebacks were pretty doggone quick.
That was one thing. One thing about him, he had the gift of gab. If he didn't like you, if he liked you, he'd tell you. If he didn't like you, he'd tell you even more.
But deep down, I think that the inner talker, I think, really does live inside of you, man. And I think I think you'll be able to find that eventually, and be, if not as good, but at least equally as good as your dad was. I definitely see that coming, and I think deep down, eventually, we will see you at the Performance Center sooner than later. I really do believe that.
I hope so.
You deserve it, without a doubt.
You worked your butt off, man. It's only been about 8 years, but you know what?
And it's in your blood.
You've gone through a lot more than some of these newcomers who are just getting started and feel like they deserve it already handed to them. And you worked your ass off.
Right.
You deserved it, and they know that you deserve it. So when that time comes, we can say, you know what, we talked to a WWE superstar and son of a legend, but you know what, he's going to be a legend himself someday.
I appreciate that very much, guys.
No problem, man. You know, we got your back, man. We're always going to be fans of what you do, man. You know what, one way or another, it's like I was telling you guys both, if I can make it down to WrestleMania, if you guys go, I know Austin's going. I'm not sure if you're going, DJ, but if you do go, I think we should all meet up.
Definitely, we'll see you there.
Are you gonna be there?
Oh, that's a good question. Are you going to WrestleMania this year?
Yeah, we will be there. We're only about 2.5, maybe 3 hours from New Orleans. We'll be there definitely.
Nice. Yeah. That'll be cool. Yeah. That definitely has to happen then.
I've never been to WrestleMania, and I live 30 minutes away from the Superdome.
Man, Austin, I was looking up some of your stuff on your Facebook. I had no clue that you're so close.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
30 minutes away from Houma, Louisiana. That's where I live.
Yeah, I've wrestled in Houma, and I've got some of the guys that you work for over there for Elite. Some of them guys came from my dad's school. Clarice, Big Clarice.
You're kidding.
Yep. John Saxon, a bunch of those guys came from over this way.
Wow, I didn't even know that. And both of them are great.
Yep.
Clarice is
small world, man.
He's a monster.
Yeah, he's a teddy bear.
Show out this way?
It's possible. I haven't been in Louisiana since probably about my 3rd or 4th year in, but I'm actually, after I get done taking my break and everything like that, I'm looking to expand a little bit more than what I was doing now. But here, like I said, after I take my break, I'll be getting out that way again. It's time for a little bit to calm down for everything. 8 years is not really that long in this business. But when you have a 5-year-old just starting kindergarten, and every time I go to leave, it's always Daddy, I want to go, or Daddy, I don't want you to go. Please stay with me. That it just tears me apart. And that's another thing on the question of the WWE situation. My dad was gone. 300 days out of the year. Missed birthdays, football games, baseball games, hockey games, just birthdays, just missing out. And my daughter is my world, and I'm with me not having a job right now and just wrestling, I'm around her for than I was in the first of my career and everything like that. And you know, if I ever got signed with WWE, that would be the hardest thing is leaving home, for a while and have to go overseas for 2-3 weeks and not be able to see her face every morning.
Well, see, that's the advantages of the technology nowadays. Not saying that that would be a good thing for you to do. That's really your choice. But
right.
When it comes to people who are traveling and their loved ones are left behind, say here or whatever, and they're overseas, they use the FaceTime quite a bit.
Yep, Skype and all that. Yep.
Yeah, and I mean that's something that definitely helps. It's not the same, but I mean it definitely helps.
Yeah.
But you know what? We got more questions in store for you. And for those who are listening in tonight and want to call in and ask any questions to your host, to the host, or to our guest, the number to call in would be area code 347-202-0399. We're going to take a quick commercial break and come back. We got more questions, and hopefully Austin will talk a little more because half the time I don't know if he's there.
Well, I'm here.
I'm just kidding, man. I'm just kidding. Hang tight, guys. Welcome back, everybody. Take a quick commercial break here, and we are back here with DJ Pringle on here just having some fun, talking some wrestling, talking some history, just kind of shooting the shit, if you basically want to call it that way. That's how I call it, but hey, that's just me. Nonetheless, we'll get back to some of our questions we got here, and should I knock and see if Austin's available? I mean, hello, Austin, you there?
Yeah, it reminds me of when Blackjack Mulligan this past March, remember when we had him on? I just sat back, most of the time I asked a couple of questions, but you guys were talking about all this history stuff, and it's really interesting, so I was just sitting back, but Oh,
no, I'm just messing with you, man. I know, and DJ knows, too, that we know that you're there. If anything, I'm just giving you a hard time because that's what I do, but wait, that didn't say it right. That's what I do.
That's another story.
And,
but, like I was going to say that...
Go for it.
I was going to say, you're interested into going to WWE, but are there any interest in TNA? I mean, I know your dad had a history there.
Well, a long story. I had a chance, and this is whenever they were kind of in cahoots with OVW for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I had a chance. They came here to Pensacola probably about 4 years ago, and I had a chance to sit down with Jeff, send some tapes in. He wanted to see some tapes, see some matches, stuff like that. Sitting in, talked to him, everything was good. My dad found out about it, and he's really like I was saying earlier. I didn't get nothing fed to me. I didn't have a silver spoon put in my mouth. I had to earn everything, and at the time, I thought I was ready. My dad thought not, so he kind of squashed that deal, saying, you're not ready yet. Don't pursue it yet because I don't, you don't want to get there and do something wrong and get sent home. So I worked a little bit harder, got back in the gym and everything like that, and then he passed away in March. So it kind of.
Well, let me ask you now. When it happened, did it bother you that he kind of 86'd the deal for you? I mean, did you have any feelings?
No, absolutely not. Because he knows what he's doing. He knows. He knows when I'm ready and when I'm not ready. Out of both parents, he knew more about me than either one of them. And he knew when I was ready and when I wasn't ready, and I'm glad that he did, because I didn't want to get there and make a fool of myself, and get sent home like I said a second ago. So I'm
cases like that too. When you're that young, your parent, you think that when your parents advise you on something, you're like, well, what do you know, kind of thing. I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna do it and I'm gonna show you. They get
right.
That's just being young, because I know that's how I was. I didn't think that. I thought I knew more than they did, and I was going to show them that I did. And in reality, I didn't. So.
Yep.
But yeah, that was just more my example of what I meant. But deep down, he had your best interest at heart. So.
I'm glad he did it.
I know
Absolutely.
that TNA with they were going around the United States for the past months, but they're actually thinking about heading back to Orlando permanently, back to our Universal Studios. But I was thinking, with your family, you know how much you love your family, that would probably be the best decision to make if they decide to come back to Orlando, to get with them if possible, and do you have a home there?
Well, when you're ready, of course.
No, definitely, yeah. See, yeah, like I said, my dad and Jeff were really, really close. And a lot of the guys over there still, Al Snow and D'Lo Brown and all those guys there, you know, and they were real good friends. And D'Lo Brown and Al Snow took me under their wing, you know, those years that I would go on trips and everything with my dad. So I'm still close with them. So you know, when the time's right, you know, all I have to do is make a phone call or they call me.
There you go. And only you can decide that. And like I said, no matter what happens, which path you choose, you know, you got two fans here that'll definitely keep tabs on you and let the fans know what's going on with you, because we did the same for past guests we've got, and we definitely take an interest in our guests and support them to the fullest, and definitely stand behind whatever they do. You know, it's for the benefit of them, not only them but their families, of course.
Definitely.
But I wanted to ask
we've done that with.
You know, being a wrestler, do you go back and watch some matches that happen, well, any match, just to try to get better yourself, like, you know, by watching footage and you know, other stuff like that?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, the best thing to do is to sit back and study. You know, just like you know, college, high school, you know, elementary. You got to study to you know, get your craft, make your craft better. You know, the best thing you can do is sit down and, you know, watch a video of, you know, of anybody, whoever you want to model yourself, you know, around. Sit down and watch a tape. See, you know, study it. Make sure you got a remote. Rewind it. Because my you know, my girlfriend and everything, she hates when I watch wrestling, because I'll sit there and rewind it and rewind it and rewind it and rewind it and rewind it.
Oh, shit, man. We could probably be sitting there watching wrestling for hours, all three of us, then.
Yeah.
I remember doing that with a couple of days ago. I was watching Randy Savage versus Jerry Lawler, the steel cage match. And I was trying to see how Randy Savage did this. It was this. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I rewinded it and fast forwarded a bunch of times, and I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. But a bunch of stuff.
By the way,
awesome.
Speaking on that, since you were talking, I don't mean to cut you off, Austin. I apologize. You know what? Go ahead and say what you're going to say.
I'm done.
Go ahead.
You continue.
The reason I was going to say something is because I read a story, and for those who haven't, are you familiar with Dutch Mantell?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I read a story about him that not necessarily him in particular, but it was a part of his book regarding Randy Savage and a police dog. Let me tell you, it was. If you ever thought, I mean, obviously Randy, you know, showed himself as to be the badass that he was on TV, but that story will definitely give you a new look as to what kind of person he really is. I mean, he was one of the tough ones, one of the best, and nobody and nothing scared him. He went one-on-one with an actual police dog. Let me put it to you that way. That was an insane story, and if you haven't read it, I recommend you highly to check it out. It's in Dutch's book. If not, I can show you where the link that I found it, and you can check it out there at one point, both of you.
Yeah, definitely. I haven't heard anything about that, but I'll sure to check into that.
Talk about the wrestling. Going back and watching wrestling, who were the people that you like to watch?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, actually, it is a really good question. I watch a lot of the Von Erich stuff.
Oh, great! We had him on this past month.
I watch a lot of. Yeah, I made the big mistake. I was actually on the road. I was on a I think a 4 or 5 day wrestling trip, and I was going to call in and talk to Kevin and everything like that, but it completely slipped my mind, because just being on the road and worried about stuff and worried about stuff at home and everything like that, it completely slipped my mind. But back to your question, yeah, I watch a lot of world class stuff. Bruiser Brody, the Von Erichs, I watch a lot of Gary Hart stuff because I monitor myself around him and my dad whenever I cut promos and stuff like that. A lot of Taker stuff, a lot of Triple H's stuff. I watch a lot of Flair, a lot of Harley Race, Lawler. Even though people are like, ooh, Jerry Lawler, but Jerry Lawler, his psychology is just out of this world compared to a lot of guys. Just like Harley Race. Harley Race's psychology just to the T. You can put him in the ring with the paper bag, and still he can have a damn good match with the paper bag.
Agreed. And they don't say that he was a tough man for no reason. They don't say just to toot their own horn. Harley was a tough man.
See, that's the thing. I love being stiff in the ring. I don't. You know, when it comes to a wrestling match, I love being stiff, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Whenever I call a lariat, if you don't bump, I'm going to take your head off.
Yeah. And for those who didn't know how to take the bumps, they definitely did that to them in the ring. They would lay in some potatoes on them and just whoop on their butts. And it wasn't just it was guys that, come to think of it, guys even like who liked to get in there and actually get physical was like Undertaker. It was like I've heard stories about him, and he don't play no joke. You get in there and you don't wrestle him the right way, he's going to let you have it.
Well, he learned that the first match that he ever had, and I don't know if you ever heard the story or not. And it was his first match was against Bruiser Brody in Dallas.
Yep, I heard that.
And they sent my dad to the ring with Taker just so my dad could show Taker the way back to the ring after getting his ass kicked by Bruiser Brody.
Oh, yeah.
Bruiser Brody was no joke either.
No.
No. Yeah.
But you know, that's another guy that I would love for people to get, check out, because there are so many. I think the fans today, and it's not a knock on them, it really isn't, but they're so not privileged enough to have been able to see these guys or want to see these others that came before them. They're not privy to that knowledge, the history, even though they could. They know what they know is what they see on TV, and they're fine with that. It's a shame, because those fans should research it further, check it out, find out where they came from, find out who was actually a part of it. I mean, there's just so much history and so many things that people can learn from. And going into a similar question that Austin asked you, when you're studying your tapes and so forth, and you got into you got your career going and so forth in wrestling, who would you say that you more or less try to model your style after?
That's really hard to say, because like I said, I watch a lot. I watch tapes all the time, and when my dad passed away, I inherited everything that he had that had anything to do with wrestling. And all of his
I can even imagine his library.
Well, heck, you can only imagine. I have a three-bedroom apartment, and my half of my living room is nothing but stacks of tape. Anything you think of, from Puerto Rico to OVW to World Class to Championship Wrestling from Florida to Gulf Coast.
We need to travel down to Florida. We need to go to his house.
Yes, road trip.
We need to go to his house. Sit down and have a couple of drinks and just watch some wrestling.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a Jack and Coke for my dad.
There you go. Yeah, I'm down with that. I'm old enough. You have to give Austin some apple juice.
Yeah,
he can have some of my daughter's apple juice or some milk or some tea or something.
Give me some Oreos while you're at it too.
Yes. Good stuff. But yeah, that kind of stuff would just be something to have some fun and just look back and be like, damn, these guys just don't know. And I'm talking about the fans; they just don't know where some of the good old days that a lot of us got to grow up and watch. And one thing about Austin, and I give him credit about this a lot more than he thinks I do. Dude is 16 years old. He's got so much knowledge. He makes a guy my age look horrible when it comes to remembering wrestling. I was only privy to certain eras, but dude, Austin goes back to Japan. He goes back to the early 1900s. He goes back to Austin is a fountain of information, not misinformation, but actual information.
I can tell you about Joe Acton from England. Came down to United States. He introduced catch-as-catch-can wrestling. Well, actually, the first person to introduce it to United States of America.
Yeah.
It's really interesting stuff.
You'd be amazed, DJ, about his knowledge, about his for a kid his age and knowing that much.
Check out my stuff from the Pro Wrestling Historical Society. I actually I'm not just saying that because I'm talking to you. I actually created I do these things. I don't know if you've seen it before. There's these covers that I have like these legendary wrestlers on, and I put your dad actually on one earlier today.
Oh, you did?
I did. I didn't post it up yet though.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Wow.
I say post it on his page if you can.
Yeah,
I'm sure he'd love to check it out.
Definitely will.
Yeah, definitely.
But you need to check that out. It's an awesome page. Like it's not just a group on Facebook. He's
a part of it. I've added him to it.
You know what it is.
I just don't have
time to actually look through it.
Yeah, I haven't had the time, but like we were talking earlier, whenever I get a chance, I'll sit down and actually take a look at it. Because what y'all was saying and everything, it sounds like it's actually pretty interesting.
Yeah, we had him on last week, Jimmy and Greg Skelly from the Pro Wrestling Historical Society, the guys who created it. And you need to listen to that. It was right after we had Alex Matthews on. They talked their heads off about the history, just various things. One of the most interesting conversations I've ever had in my entire life. I mean, it was awesome.
What's funny about Greg Skelly is that he actually has so many connections in the wrestling business from guys like even the families of the wrestlers who have passed away, like even Hercules, Dino Bravo. I believe even Rick Rude. I believe George the Animal Steele. Blackjack Mulligan. I believe and I wouldn't be surprised. I really wouldn't be surprised if he had some kind of connection to your dad. In some form or fashion, they may have chatted at one point in their lives.
I'm sure they have.
But dude's got connections like nobody's business. Got tons and tons and tons of history. And like I said, it was just a history lesson. Actually, Austin said it was a history lesson like you wouldn't believe. For anyone who really appreciates the actual art form of professional wrestling. I say professional wrestling, I don't say sports entertainment.
Absolutely.
Sports entertainment, I'll leave that for Monday Night Raw.
I told him we can trade brains one day.
What's that?
I told him we can trade brains one day. I mean, if he was up for it, I'll be up for it.
But if you actually, when getting to go to these shows and working with a lot of the younger guys, do you ever get pulled aside and ask questions about certain matches? Maybe have you watched their match, or even pick your brain about certain ideas, or do you ever encounter some of that from the new up and comers that come up?
Yeah, some guys do, some guys don't. Yeah, people think I'm an asshole. Oh well, they think it. I really don't. I really don't care. But a lot of younger guys, they like my mic skills. Like I said, I'm not the best wrestler in the world, and by no means, and I'm not the best person on the microphone, but I know how to lace a pair of boots, and I know I have psychology. I've been there, I've done that, I know what I'm doing, and some guys they like to come up and ask me, hey, how was it like, in the locker room, blah blah blah. Can you watch my match, see if I did something wrong? Well, it's the same thing. I tell them, hey, watch my match. Tell me what I did wrong. Because you never stop learning in this business, no matter what you do. Even if you're watching tapes, or you're sitting in the locker room just bullshitting with the guys and everything like that, pick somebody's brain. If there's an overboy in the locker room, and I'm just not talking to fans, and I'm talking to wrestlers that are listening in. If there's overboys in the locker room, and you want to know something, ask them questions. There's never a dumb question to wrestling, because you're always going to learn, no matter what.
Yeah. That's what everybody says. Any guest that we've had on the show, legend or up-and-comer, it's a constant learning experience. I asked a lot of the newbies that come up, the young and up-and-comer stars, like, for instance, last week we had Alex Matthews, getting a chance to get out there. He's a great guy, definitely a great guy. But getting a chance to get out there and work with a lot of the independent guys. I'm sorry?
I said I've been in the ring with Alex a few times.
Oh, nice. But I was going to say is like when you get a chance to work with a lot of the legends that travel the indies, and there's a few of them, let me tell you. I mean, to sit down and just pick their brain about ring psychology, about ring presence, about even the mic delivery, guys like when Jake was, I think Jake still even travels the indies still, Jake Roberts, one of the absolute best ring psychologists I have ever met in my life. I've never met him, but ever seen. Not the greatest, but one of the greatest for sure. I mean, he made you feel his presence.
Yep.
His battles with Randy Savage back in the day. Good God, that was unlike that kind of stuff would have happened probably during the Attitude Era, but for it to happen during the time it did, it freaked a lot of people out. That Cobra biting him and everything. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That's just crazy stuff, man. And believe it or not, Undertaker and your dad were actually there at that reception, Randy and Elizabeth.
Yeah.
That was trippy stuff. That's crazy though.
I was always scared of that snake when I was little.
I can imagine. I would be too. I'd be terrified. I'd be like, get that thing away. Anyways.
Speaking of your dad, I know WrestleMania 30 is like right around the corner, and I think if it would induct him this time around, it would be the best time to induct him because knowing your dad and what he's done in the South, New Orleans would be the best time to induct him.
You never say never.
That's true. But with though I can't necessarily say it won't be in the South anymore. I mean, there's always Austin and DJ, you guys both know obviously the speculation, internet wrestling community, and the dirt sheets and everything. There's always speculation as to where the next WrestleMania will be. Where it's going to be. There's been rumors Orlando. There's been rumors Texas. There's been rumors. Well, now California was up there, but now I don't really think it's going to be anytime soon. But in that surrounding area, because of the revenue that it brings in. When it's down there, when they're going to be in New Orleans next year, you better believe that's probably going to be the busiest, if not one of the busiest times of the year for them.
Oh, definitely.
Good God, it's really busy.
Right now. It's not even just WWE; it's the independent shows too. Because I know Luke Hawx, who is a friend of the show. Well, he's not really a friend; he's haven't actually been on, but we know who he is. We've spoken to him, and he's got a great school. And I think I've heard possibilities of him running a show that weekend as well as other indie shows doing their shows that weekend as well. If you're gonna be there WrestleMania weekend, you might as well get everybody out there and enjoy everything, and I mean everything.
They're planning on actually doing WrestleCon because I know the indie groups do that with WrestleMania when it comes around.
Oh, WrestleCon?
Yeah.
Yes, because I know that's where they had Bobby Heenan earlier this year. He was actually at WrestleCon in Jersey this year, and I think it's amazing because people ask me because I run the Bobby Heenan page, and they're constantly asking him why he continues to travel when maybe he doesn't look like he should be traveling. Well, if you remember those who watched his speech from 2004, Hall of Fame, he is not a kind of man that likes to sit home and do nothing. He had to do that all during his time when he was dealing with cancer. Yes, he doesn't look the same, and our hearts go out to him. But he's the kind of man that really doesn't want you to feel sorry for him, because he gets the biggest joys interacting with fans, and fans getting to see him, take a picture with them. How many people can say they've gotten to do that? That's a man that had been in the business 40 plus years, and different territories. There was different members of the Bobby Heenan family. I mean, he's just an example I'm using. I mean, there's other guys that go there too, but he was just one of my favorites that I like to mention a lot. And even one thing I even go and say is that your dad would go to these type of shows too, the WrestleCons. And I think it was a WrestleCon he was at. I want to say maybe WrestleMania 28, 27 possibly.
Yeah. He did a lot of the Legends conventions and stuff like that. Well,
I think with and and I could be wrong for saying this, and maybe I am, and if I am, I apologize if I offend anybody. I think that a lot of the guys, a lot of the fans really enjoy a lot more of the independent shows, or just going to meeting the legends as opposed to going to a WWE show, a TNA show, maybe even dare I say, a Ring of Honor show.
Right.
The hardcore, the old school fans would rather sit and just chat with one of the wrestling legends that are there and have them tell a story or so if they can, or just say hi and tell them thank you. But then again, maybe that's my inner mark, I guess.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I'm going away from the subject. But Austin, you still there, bud? Got all quiet on me.
Oh yeah, I'm here.
All right, just
he wants to go get some milk and some Oreos.
That's what I was actually doing, but not the birthday. I tell you, the birthday cake flavor is probably the most suckiest flavor for Oreos ever. I'm not kidding. It's too sweet.
Did you see him actually over there with a rolling pin baking some cookies?
No.
Yeah, I actually have a picture up right now.
I had to give him a hard time.
Yeah, the picture up. I was actually baking cookies yesterday.
Nothing wrong with that. I'm sure DJ's over there. He probably baked some cookies with his daughter too.
Wow.
Your daughter's lucky. I actually seen a picture you posted up with Goldust actually painting her face with his makeup.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
That was freaking awesome.
Yeah, that was about a month ago when he came and done a show down here in Slocum at a TW show. He came down and we seen each other in a while. He was unable to attend to my dad's funeral and stuff like that, and he made sure to go see my daughter and see my girlfriend and stuff like that. There, she don't know people's real names, like guys' real names, stuff like that. She kept saying, "Hey, Goldie, come here. My daddy, I remember seeing pictures of you tying my dad up, blah, 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 blah." And he goes, "Come here, I'm going to tell you a secret. You can't tell nobody." And he said, "You can come in here and watch me put on my makeup." And Danielle said, my daughter's name is Danielle. She says, "The only way that I'm going to come in there is as long as you paint my face." And Dustin's like, "Well, go ask your daddy and see if it's okay." And of course, I'm not going to tell him no. She went in there and sat and listened to him talk and everything like that. He even done the stuttering gimmick for her so she can laugh and all that kind of stuff. So it was fun. She loved it.
She's not really shy around other people, though, huh?
Oh no, no. She is a people person.
Well, let me ask you now. I mean, going from Goldust over to DDP, the reason I ask about him is all the things he's done, and I'm sure you've taken notice as well.
Yeah.
People have actually gone to him. Obviously, there are someone like guys like I can't even think of his name. Stevie Richards, guys like Jake Roberts, guys like obviously Scott Hall. And obviously, it's countless others that have gone to him. Chris Jericho have credited him for helping them. Obviously, a lot of them are over 40, some over 50, and doing the DDP yoga has definitely kind of reinvigorated them a little bit and kind of given them a new sense on wanting to try to get back in the ring again. My question to you is, given the opportunity, obviously Dallas has got these retreats out there in Mexico. Or even his little workshops that he does in Georgia, he actually does them. They're free to the public, first come, first serve kind of thing. He doesn't turn anybody away. He'll do them there daily, unless he's traveling. But if you had the opportunity to actually sit down and maybe do some DDP yoga with him, or any of the other, because I think Stevie is actually certified, a trainer for DDP yoga. Yep. So I mean, getting the opportunity, would you consider doing something like that?
Oh, definitely. Never turn anything like that down. I think it would be. I think it would be a good thing because I've got a lot of guys that are on the circle with me that actually has ordered the DVD and has done it and has lost tons of weight and then just finally got back in shape and everything like that. And another buddy of mine that actually he's up in the Monster Factory, and they did a seminar with Stevie Richards, and just good things. Nothing, no bad things at all has came out from anybody that's done anything with DDT yoga. So yeah, if I had the chance, man, that'd be this is a no-brainer. I would definitely take it.
Now, my last question of the night, and I'm going to turn it over to Austin and let him ask any further questions. If the opportunity presented itself, let's just say a big if, whether it be next year, this year, 2 years from now, 10 years from now, whatever, that the day comes that they go ahead and induct your father, who would you want to be his inductor as far as a person who passes the award over to your family? Who would you think that your dad would want as his inductor? If that makes sense. I hope that sounded right, but you know what I mean.
That's one of the hardest questions. I've had a lot of people.
You've touched so many lives. It would be. I think anybody would sue right. I mean, people would most likely would say Undertaker, or maybe Undertaker and Kane, or even maybe somebody from maybe the Von Erichs, maybe Kevin.
Michael Hayes.
There you go, Michael Hayes. He's very close with Michael Hayes. I remember hearing stories about those two.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But that'd be interesting to see when that day comes, and who gets chosen. I mean, it would be an honor, I would think, for anybody to take that, take upon that job of doing that. But on behalf of myself, I'm done. I'm done with my questions. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Austin. Did you have any final questions for DJ?
One final thing I want to say that I respect you and your family so much, and I thank you for all the stuff that you guys are going to do and what you're going to do in the future. Because I see really bright things, and I know I'm a young cat saying that, but I really think that you're going to go with big places, and I know without a shadow of a doubt you're going to be in WWE one of these days because you deserve it.
I appreciate that very much, very much. I got one last thing to say real quick.
Please, go ahead.
A quick little plug, real quick. Dave Marquez out in Hollywood. They're doing the second memorial show of Percy Pringle III Memorial Cup. They're going to be doing it.
I've seen that.
December the 8th, Sunday, December the 8th. Bell time is at 3:00, and they're going to be doing it over at the Ocean View Pavilion in Port
Hueneme?
Yeah.
I'm guessing on that one, but I've seen the name and I don't think I can pronounce it.
Yeah. And it's free admission. Family Stone to be there. James Morgan, Scorpio Sky, Cedric the Hitman, and a bunch of the championship wrestling from Hollywood guys. So if anybody is out in California, out that way, check it out. It's going to be the second memorial show for my dad, the PP3 Memorial Cup, and I had great things from out there. Nothing bad said from championship wrestling from Hollywood. So if y'all are out there, please check it out.
Also, I wanted to, since we're talking about plugs, I want to actually pose a plug to you, or not pose a plug, but have you plug any of your social media that you keep up with. I know you got your Facebook, and from the looks of it, you definitely keep in contact and communicate with fans that either are fans of yours, fans of your family, fans of your father, and you stay very interactive. And therefore, if fans want to keep up with you, do you stay pretty interactive with Twitter at all? I know you have one.
I do, but I barely sign in. I haven't been on there very much. But I'm on Facebook more than I am anything else. It's under my real name, under Daniel Moody. It also says DJ Pringle. If anybody, if any fan, I'm open to anything. Anybody want to ask questions about my family, my dad, anything they want to know, you're more than welcome to send me a message. If anybody has anything good to say about my dad, videos, pictures, anything that you like has anything to do with wrestling, please post it. I would definitely love it.
You know what? I do actually want to touch on something that I've heard, possibly something that's in the works. I don't know exactly the full details on it, but there is some kind of tribute show, pallbearer tribute show that they're doing in 2015. Have you heard anything about that?
Do you know exactly where it's at? Because I know my family, me and my brother are in the works of doing something here and probably the end of next year, maybe the middle of next year, the end of next year, doing another memorial show, a big show around here. For
I want to say it's probably around the Texas area.
I haven't heard anything about that, but if you know anything, if you know more about it than me, always let me know something about that. Because
no, sure. I mean, let's say there's something I've heard that's in the works. I don't know the full details, but if I do, I'll either see if I can contact the promoter or send the promoter your way. That way you guys can discuss things. But
definitely.
Other than that, go ahead.
I was going to say I got one more plug. The Wrestling Experience, I'll be there Saturday night. We have TV tapings every Saturday night in Slocum, Alabama. Bell time 7:30. Great card. CB Slade, myself, the TWE television champion Dane Stevens, the TWE champion Michael Steele. A bunch of great guys that just got started here in the past about 3 months now. Great card, great action from bell to bell. So if anybody's in the local area in Alabama, Slocum, Alabama, towards Dothan, make your way there. I'll be there, signing autographs, whatever you need to do. But I appreciate it, guys. Thank you for having me on, and hopefully y'all won't wait so long to get me on again.
You know what? 2014 is around the corner. Definitely, feel free if you have anything going on and you want to come on and announce it or talk about it or what have you, please. I encourage you because we do have that from time to time. A lot of our guests have something that's going on, or something new that's changed in their careers and they want to tell us about it and spread the word out to our listeners. For instance, I'm not sure if you know him or not, you might, would be one of our former guests, Jagger Lane, who actually got to start. He was going through a lot and working out of Salt Lake City, and definitely got something in the works with Johnny G of the Micro Championship Wrestling crew, or Midget Championship Wrestling, I think it was. I call it Micro, my bad. MCW crew with Johnny G and Pat Tanaka and all them over there. So, feel free if you got something you want to tell us, and even if it's just like 10, 15 minutes of a show or something, we can definitely squeeze you in anytime.
Definitely, I appreciate that.
But other than that, on behalf of Austin, we thank you for joining us tonight, man. We wish you the very best. Happy holidays, and God bless you guys.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Felix. Thanks, Austin. Well, hopefully, Austin, we'll see you down the road.
There you go.
In Louisiana sometime.
Definitely. Hope you see you in.
And if you don't take pictures, Austin, I'm going to have to kill you.
Good. Kill me.
You better take pictures with him. Damn it.
Oh yeah, I'll take pictures with him if I see him.
I'll make
that's what I
sure
meant.
to bring
Take pictures with him.
I'll make sure to bring you some of those birthday Oreos too.
I swear, you have to do that. I'm not kidding. If you do it, I will hug you or something, or tie your shoes.
Did you just say tie his shoes?
Yeah, I mean, if they aren't tied, if he's wearing sandals, then obviously I can't do anything. But I want to actually see you do that.
Oh my God, that's just too funny.
I like boredom, by the way. Has to be boredom.
DJ Pringle, representing the Pringle Nation here tonight with us. It's been a pleasure, man. We wish you the very best, and we'll be talking to you again real soon.
Thanks, y'all. I appreciate it.
All right. Have a good night, man.